Okay, after a positive video, so after my shadows of the damned video, which was positive, it's time for a negative video. And it, I got the idea to make this, to talk about this, given the recent reactions of certain YouTubers to the to the remake phenomenon, to the remake plague phenomenon, which I will mention later. But yeah, in this one I want to talk about mostly about one type of remake, which it seems to be like the standard of how you remake a game nowadays. The third person over the shoulder camera type of gameplay remake. I want to focus on this one, this type. And yeah, I mean, I have noticed that all the games that have this kind of gameplay, that have a semi-realistic setting, so games like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, and also Alone in the Dark, but maybe I'm forgetting something else too, but all these games that have this fucking like camera control scheme with realistic graphics, and they all play the same with the fucking inertia movement, with the quotes on quotes realistic movement. They all look the fucking same. Like, do people enjoy playing this slop, this homogenized slop? Because to me, this looks like very off-putting, no matter how the game ends up playing in the end. Also, no, that's not it, because these games all play the fucking same for the most part. They look the fucking same. The feedback when you play them, I'm pretty sure it's almost the same, especially given the horrible controls with latency. The crosshairs also, with the fucking white crosshair that opens and closes. Like, they are the most boring, forgettable experiences around nowadays, which is funny, because I think the FPS games have more variety in this sense than third-person games. At least those types of third-person games have. Because when developers make those third-person over-the-shoulder camera games, they make them play all the fucking same, as opposed to FPS. While there's a lot of FPS, like there's boomer shooters, there's like stuff like Halo, stuff like Call of Duty. Then there's like hero shooters, arena shooters. Like, there is a lot of types of shooters. Even though they all play with the same fucking camera and the same control scheme, there is way more variety in the shooter genre, in the FPS genre, than the, I don't know, how do you want to call them? TPS? Because nowadays they all make games like those, with the realistic movement, the over-the-shoulder camera. They all play the fucking same. And back then it wasn't like this. Back then, all the games had their own feeling to them. Even if you think about at the start of the 360 gen, for example, or in the middle, there was stuff like Silent Hill Homecoming, for example, which is, I mean, it's a funny anecdote, because Silent Hill Homecoming is the only Silent Hill I've ever finished and enjoyed, because I did play Silent Hill 2 back in the day, but back in the day I felt like as if I couldn't enjoy a game if I didn't also enjoy the gameplay. But that's something I got over with. Because now I can also enjoy a game, even though I'm not a super fan of its gameplay, if the story is interesting enough. So I ended up playing a game like Deadly Premonitions a lot, despite its horrible gameplay, because of its compelling story. But back then, when I was way younger, I couldn't get past the boring gameplay, honestly. Because Silent Hill 2, original Silent Hill 2's gameplay is kind of boring, honestly. But yeah, all this to say that back then, not too long ago actually, games, even like third-person games like these ones, used to play very differently. Yeah, they had the same fucking camera, but all of them had their own sensibilities exclusive to them. For example, there was, like I said, Silent Hill Homecoming that played in a way. Then there was like Resident Evil 5. Then there was Gears of War. What else? Like, I don't remember all the third-person shooter type of games, but there were quite a few in the 360 generation. And most of them, of course, there were clones, but they all had their own sensibilities. Like stuff like Dark Sector, for example, which I barely remember anything about the game. But yeah, that was another pretty unique game. Like, they all felt different and looked different. But these fucking games they're making today, they're supposed blockbusters that cost millions to make, they all feel the fucking same. Like, who even enjoys them at this point? You're playing the same game over and over and over and over. When they announce another TPS control type game with the realistic graphics, realistic movement, and all that shit, who the fuck is even hyped for it? I don't know. I mean, I guess Zoomers, because that's the only slop they play. But I couldn't be less hyped, less interested in those kinds of games, honestly, at this point. And the funny thing is with these games is that most of them end up flopping. Because the only horror franchise that actually sells, it seems to be Resident Evil nowadays. The rest gets only the scraps. Also because, I mean, they flop because the publishers have insane expectations. They spend a lot of money on development and marketing, and then they need to sell like 10 million copies to recoup the costs, which is never gonna happen, of course, because not even Resident Evil sells 10 million copies at full price. They sell 10 million copies after they drop in price. So, like, I don't understand where this type of like hope, this type of projections for their return on investment comes from, but it's clearly wrong. Because no franchise is gonna outsell, when it comes to, at least to horror games, is gonna outsell Resident Evil nowadays. Now, I don't know if the Silent Hill 2 remake is gonna flop. I don't know how much they actually did spend on it, so I couldn't tell you what. But I do remember the blooper team saying that Silent Hill 2's remake selling 10 million copies is not unrealistic to them. So I don't know, but I don't think it's ever gonna get to 10 million copies, honestly. At best I can see it doing 3 millions, but nothing more than that. I may be wrong. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, like I said, these games are, at this point, they're a dime a dozen. Like, who the fuck even enjoys them? And I did mention before about YouTubers. Some YouTubers starting to say, oh no, I don't like remakes anymore, now that the Silent Hill 2 remake came out. Mostly I'm referring to people like Sphere Hunter, the Capcom shill, and a little bit to Gaming Brit as well, because they're part of the same clique, from what I understand. But it will be funny to see if their tune changes the moment Capcom announces the next remake. It will be funny to see, honestly. Because, I mean, at some point remake fatigue will start to settle in even for these people. I guess if they're shills, if someone is shilling for something, of course they're getting money, so they're not gonna get fatigue. But I also mean regular people. I'm starting to notice that this sentiment is becoming more prevalent. Some people are starting to get fed up with these fucking remakes that all look and play the same. So we'll see how it goes. I have mentioned my stance multiple times, even in recent videos, so you can check those out if you want. I even said what I think are worthy remakes in terms of a concept, and I've given like real examples of them. So as usual, let me know your thoughts, because these fucking games, every time I see one of these games getting announced nowadays, I get like an allergic reaction, because enough is enough, honestly. But yeah, as usual, let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.